My name is Super Jesus Jackson. I'm 25 years old, and I've never seen the film American Psycho until now. Yeah. I don't know how to preface this video. I don't know how to start it. All I know is that you read the title, you clicked on the video. Yeah, I saw American Psycho, a film that came out in 2001, I believe, or 2000, one of those. It's pre 9/11, basically. And I think that when you watch this movie, afterwards, at least for a good week or a few days or so, you're kind of like a different person. And that's what happened with American Psycho. I think really the impetus for this video is not, of course, if you've seen the Pulp Fiction video that I did, I'm not here to review the film necessarily. I'm just here to talk about, I think, what makes it special. Because if I put on a shirt, get on camera, and talk about a film, that's right, it's because it's special. And I think American Psycho is a very special film. And really, look, I mean, yeah, sure, let's just get it out of the fucking way, okay? The film, it's great. I think the runtime is fine. I think the editing is great. I think the cinematography is great. I think the script is phenomenal. I think it's wonderfully directed in general. And there's a few things that, you could be dumb or whatever, but, it's a fucking movie and it's outrageous. It's super outrageous. So we're just gonna let those things slide. But overall, I knew how fantastical, not in Lord of the Rings way, but I knew how exaggerated the film was. And so going into it, I was like, I kind of forgave a couple things here and there. You might know what I'm talking about here and there. But overall, I think the plot is very smart. I think it's a very engaging film. And yeah, so those are my thoughts on that. But I think the real reason why I turned on this camera today to talk about this film is the movie's sort of balls to the wall approach to violence and just exaggerated everything. I mean, the film can be seen, and I think a lot of people can take a lot of offense to this film. Obviously, the film has a lot of political and socioeconomic satire, of course, right? And I mean, literally, the film is, like, when you go on Wikipedia and you read about it, it is totally trying to make fun of, like, Wall Street, 20-year-olds or whatever, right? Super, like, uber-rich people being, just egomaniacs and being super offensive, right? Like, that's what it's making fun of. And on the one hand, all of that is perfectly fine. It's genius. The way that it's done, it makes perfect sense. And I think it's brilliant how they use a character like Patrick Bateman to completely just, he is the weirdo to them. He is the guy that, like, is kind of seem like he's kind of the weird guy. He's kind of the deranged guy. And he's a little bit, I don't know, it's like, in many ways, like, he's contradicting everything, that the rich people are doing. Like, whenever they're trying to, sort of be offensive to minorities or whatever, Patrick Bateman comes in and he acts like he's the most progressive guy ever. But then occasionally he'll fucking say something like, he'll quote Ed Gein, which, and he'll be like, this serial killer used to say, when I see a woman, part of me wants to take her out. And then the other part of me wants to see how her head would look on, like, a fucking pike or something. Like, crazy shit like that. And you can see how crazy, like, in that scene, his fucking friends, his rich-ass friends were like, this guy's weird. You know what I mean? And so Patrick Bateman contradicts and tries to be the progressive guy and tries to be the super, just nice guy, right? And he's a total lover, not a fighter, and he's all about social justice. And then he also goes and says the most outrageous, heinous shit. And you also see it when, he's at a club and a woman asks him, what do you do or whatever. And he he says, I love murders and executions. But the music's so fucking loud that she's like, I'm sorry, what mergers and acquisitions? So it's genius stuff how they, completely portray the rich class to be super ignorant. They are so centered, so egocentrical. I feel like fucking Michael Scott.
It was integral to the story.
Basically, they're dicks, okay? They only like themselves. They only pay attention to themselves. They don't care about anyone else other than themselves. And so whenever things around them happen, they're so oblivious to it because they're so entranced by their own lifestyle and themselves and their career and money and status that anything weird that happens out of the ordinary, that was redundant, but they completely ignore it. And, they're impervious to it, oblivious. And so Patrick Bateman comes in and he's sort of the trump card. He's the wild card to this. But he's absolutely a lunatic, right? He is the uber version of these rich people, right? And obviously we come to know that as the film progresses. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. I just turn on the fucking camera and talk. So that's what Patrick Bateman is. He's a wrench into this rich class, right? And the film is totally mocking not only the rich class that Patrick Bateman is surrounded by, but Patrick Bateman himself. I mean, he is like, if you were trying to teach rich people a lesson, you would create a character like Patrick Bateman to teach them a lesson. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. You kind of make them drink their own poison and then some. And so that's kind of what that is, right? And so the film completely tackles that, right? But I think the real genius of the film, of course, like with anything that has to do with, serial killers, sociopaths, is this essence of, or this idea that the character, the main protagonist, right? He crosses that line. Because in this film, there are things that Patrick Bateman does, like he kills a dog. He's about to kill, a kitty. And he kills people, for almost no fucking reason. And he manipulates everyone. And he gets what he wants. And he abuses people. And he verbally offends them. A lot of the times he does end up killing innocent people, right? But this is the character, this is the protagonist that we're supposed to somewhat, connect with and engage with. And he's very engaging to watch, to hear. Obviously, all that is true, otherwise the movie wouldn't work. But he's a complete sociopath. I mean, he has no empathy for anyone. Not even himself in many ways, right? He completely says that all the time. He's almost non-existent. He's an abstraction. He's an illusion. And he's not there. You know what I mean? And maybe he's just talking about, obviously, that iconic morning routine scene, which is fucking genius. Oh my God, that scene is incredible. But he's saying, that the character of Patrick Bateman is not real. He's a facade to facilitate the real me. But even that real me, I just can't control. I can't understand. It's almost like an just innate monster, that just is what it is. It's a force of nature. And so that is that, right? But the thing that I get out of this movie is we all have a little bit of Patrick Bateman in us. All of us. I mean, and I think that if you don't, you're weird. And you're I don't know, you must be perfect. You must be Jesus or something. But all of us have crazy ass fucking thoughts. Have you ever fucking, been driving and then sometimes you're like, what would happen if I just fucking veered off the side of the road? You know what I mean? What would happen if I crashed into that car? What would happen if I did this or that? And I don't know, maybe I'm exposing myself, as the crazy fucking person that I am. God, no. But here's the difference, right? Is that all of us think this crazy shit and some of us actually do them. Patrick Bateman does those things. And that's what separates, the mentally ill people who do those types of things to the people who think about these things but don't do them, right? And that's Patrick Bateman is mentally ill. I mean, he has a disease. You know what I mean? It is that bad. And I'm sure, there's a part of him that, sort of enjoys it, right? But he is incapable of seeing consequences, right? That's what a sociopath is. They're incapable of feeling empathy, but they're able to manipulate and they're able to fucking go about the world and act as if they're normal and find the perfect opportunity to strike and then go back to being normal again. Like, that is what a sociopath is. It's really fucking scary. But these people have no ability to understand how bad, it is to do those things that they're doing. But that's what separates Patrick Bateman and you and me. But here's the thing is, and this is the mistake that so many people I think do, is when they see films like this, or they see, like the Netflix series Dahmer, or they read about, crazy people like Ed Gein, and they're like, oh my God, those people are insane. I could never. I mean, how could you do something like that? That right there. These films, and some people don't even like these films, right? American Psycho. They just think it's so outrageous and so unnecessary, so violent and completely just balls to the wall, and it should almost be banned. I mean, not banned, but don't even bother, because this is not art. It's just crazy shit on the screen. It's almost like borderline a slasher film. But, it's kind of set in the real world, and it's kind of more realistic. So, therefore, it shouldn't be enjoyed because it's so it's just offensive, and it has no substance. It's just violence for the sake of violence and gore. There are people that think that way. And I can see how people get to that conclusion. But here's the thing, is that when I see this film, we need films like this. We need characters like Patrick Bateman. We need these sort of things to appear in art occasionally. Because art is not only a reflection of ourselves, it's a reflection of society, right? But also, art is cultural. It's part of the fabric of our humanity. It's expression, right? And American Psycho is a reflection, and the film has tons of reflection metaphors and mirror metaphors. But American Psycho is a reflection of the real world. Obviously, we know that it's a satire, and it has commentary, right, on the real world. But even a character like Patrick Bateman, who we differentiate ourselves with, there's a little bit of Patrick Bateman in all of us. There's a little bit of that, right? We're all capable of doing the things that he's doing. All of us. I mean, maybe we're not, there's that mental aspect where we're not fucking fully capable of feeling no empathy, right? Unless you have that sort of mental disorder. But I think this movie exists not only for, entertainment and, again, to sort of express those socio-political messages that it is doing, or socioeconomic messages, but it is to sort of provide a reflection for us and be like, this is what a monster is. And there's a monster in me, right? And the difference is that I'm not going to unleash that monster. And whether we like it or not, dare I say it, part of that monster in you is necessary for you to do all the things that you want to do in your life. Because you can't truly be good unless you know that you can be evil. It's just, that's a fact. If there's no evil, there's no reason to do good. The whole reason why light exists is because there's darkness. Darkness exists without light because darkness is the absence of light. And so I think right there is it's sort of this idea that darkness lives on without light. Evil does too. And I think we have to recognize that in order to be good, in order to do good. And maybe I'm going way too fucking heady for all of you, and maybe my points are all making no sense. And you know what? Maybe that's the case. But when I see a film like American Psycho, I see a reflection even more of ourselves, of all of us. Like, you don't have to be rich and a dick to know that American Psycho is speaking to you, right? And so I think movies like this, it's the whole reason why people love horror movies and why people love roller coasters. People love experiencing things that are borderline fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like, why the fuck would anyone enjoy slasher films? But we do, because there's fucking something in us that want to see some blood, that want to see that shit. Like, there's a curiosity in us, an innate curiosity, and I do think it's a natural thing for us to have some sort of agent of chaos in us. Like, that is in us. That's why we find things like that entertaining. And we love to kind of peruse that sort of desire, and we love to pick at it a little bit without going too far, right? We let Patrick Bateman go too far because he's not real, so it's okay, right? And so it's safe for us. It's the same reason why you love roller coasters, because you could wear a fucking seatbelt and you're fucking secured in your seat. If you knew you were gonna die in the middle of the roller coaster, you wouldn't fucking go on it, would you? So we love to have our cake and eat it too, and that's no different with American Psycho. But I think you still have to, go a little bit further than that and get something out of it, right? You know what I mean? Like, you can't just have your cake and eat it too and expect that, oh no, you're a fine person. No, go look at yourself in the mirror and realize that there's a little bit of crazy in you as well. That's all I'm saying. And maybe I'm just projecting my own self, and maybe some of you are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I never have this thing, and I enjoy American Psycho. I don't fucking know. I don't know. Maybe, fuck. I wonder how I'm going to think about this video as I'm editing it. I'm like, God damn it, what the fuck is wrong with me? But you know what? It's what I feel. And it's how I felt watching a movie like American Psycho. Well, I hope all that made sense. I have no fucking idea. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Did you enjoy this video? Did you dislike it? Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content. Or fucking unsubscribe if you thought I was just full of shit. I'm not sure. But if it's your birthday, happy birthday to you, you beautiful creature. But that's it. You all take care, stay safe, and until next time, I love you.